Hello and welcome. As we all know, this past year has been far from normal for us all. Our social lives have become extinct, and many of us have not seen our friends nor our families. However, lockdown has looked different for everyone. For me personally, I have taken the opportunity to start a YouTube channel interviewing inspirational people and businesses, and I guess that's what has helped to keep me sane. But how about if you're an actress whose career has come to a halt, or a managing director who has spent 20 out of 28 days in isolation? In this interview, I'll be speaking with both to get two different perspectives on what lockdown life has looked like and how they have put self-care to the top of their priority list. First, I'd like to welcome Ionica Adriana, actress, singer and presenter. Hello, how are you?
Yeah, good. Got my brew ready.
Love it. You're obviously an actress. You have had one paid acting job since the start of lockdown. When it was first announced what was going on, did you think it would affect you in that way?
I don't think anyone really understood the magnitude of maybe possibly the time scale, but as soon as it happened, I was actually booked on a big presenting job. So that got cancelled just before the national lockdown got announced. So instantly, I knew that my work was going to be affected, but we were only told, what was it, 4 weeks or something. So, I mean, no, not really. You just think, oh, it's a shame that that's been cancelled, but hopefully in 4 weeks it will just start again. So that was it. But I'm glad no one told me at the beginning of it that that would be the outcome, because otherwise.
How have you been? How have you coped? Have you found it difficult, easy?
I, I think at the start, the whole everyone was in the same boat with the novelty of not working, and all the time I'm in the car driving to London, hopping from city to city, job to job. So it was actually quite nice to sit and just go, oh, I don't, I don't have to, like, because it got so crazy at one point. I was like waking up and I was like, I don't think I'm in the right city. Like, that's how crazy it got. So it was actually, I was like, oh my goodness, this is what a break feels like. So in that way, it was quite good. But yeah, it was more financially for me. The worry came quite soon, because if you don't work, you don't get paid. So that was, and then the self-employment scheme was very much a later thing that was talked about. So everything within the arts has felt more pushed to the side because other things has taken precedence. So it came a financial worry quite quickly.
And are you locked down in the city now or are you back home?
No, so I was supposed to be moving to Manchester in the April, and that all fell through. So I had to move back up north, and then I was going to try again in January, hoping after doing 3 months of panto that I would be able to kind of financially get back on my feet. And then instead of doing 3 months, I did a week. So it stopped it again. So no, back in Yorkshire.
And living with family or on your own?
Mm-hmm. Family, I've been really lucky to come back home. Yeah.
That is lucky. I'm guessing you all get on. You say it's lucky, but
Yeah, I mean, I've heard lots of people have, like, even Valentine's Day, they did a survey of what did people most want for Valentine's Day, and it was to be alone. It's like most people have, I know. Yeah, no, we get on it. I mean, obviously, it's testing, isn't it? When you live under each other's, when you're on top of each other, and you could normally just go to a friend's house and be like, oh, like, I've had a bad day, or so. In that way, I think tempers are not particularly in my house, but I mean, just in general, tempers are more frayed than normal, and things that probably wouldn't annoy you are annoying you a lot more.
how do you cope with them? How do you, as a family, get through them and stay sane, basically?
I've just been going on walks, really. I have to keep in full fitness anyway for work and auditions and stuff like that, because last summer they did start picking up a little bit when it got relaxed. and I realized how unfit I was. So that for me has been a real focus, is keeping on top of that.
And it's keeping that routine as well. A lot of people, as soon as lockdown happened, fell out of the routine. And
Definitely, yeah.
in terms of acting, I'm guessing you have a lot of acting friends who are probably feeling the same as you, bit down, bit glum. When they come to you for help, how do you stay strong enough to give them advice, or don't you?
I think most of the time, I think it's something like 97% of actors are out of work at one time. So TV wise, my friends have been working obviously a lot more, but that was very much laboured in soaps and stuff like that. It's like anything, you've just got to be supportive, and just you've just got to be their sounding board. And sometimes because I've got friends that are working more than they ever have, like in presenting and stuff like that, because the cast has reduced and they've been given more opportunities and things like that. And I don't think that anyone's worries are less valid because you are working or you're not working. Everyone's got different worries. So if you're working all the time, you're getting more tired, and then if you're not working, it's a financial burden. So it's quite easy to have a conversation with someone that is out of work or in work, because it's usually quite the opposite. And that is generally the rule of thumb when you chat with actors. And it's quite hard, and you learn it along the way, is not to compare yourself. So when your friends are in a soap and that they are getting good money and they're getting good exposure and good opportunities, and you've not worked for a year, it's really hard to go, oh, like, and then in a year's time, your situation is totally different and you're working and they're not. And you've just got to be just there. You've just got to listen and just try and be the best sounding board that you can, I guess.
And that comes back to self-care. So where you were saying about going on a walk. So what does self-care mean to you?
Well, at first it was a lot of wine. And then I realized that my head started to look like a grape because I was inhaling so much wine. I thought, this is not really self-care, because the amount of headaches that I was having with the amount of wine. And then you see loads of stuff, don't you, on Instagram and TikTok of like, get up, make your bed, go on a walk, this, that, and the other. And do you know what? Whatever it is that you need to do that day, I think that is your self-care. Whether if you want to stay in bed all day, and if that's going to get you through the next day afterwards, then just do that. It's very easy to look online and see people being like a fitness guru and all the rest of it, and being like, yeah, just painting my garage, and then you're feeling even worse because you're like, oh, like, they're just getting on. And so I think it's important to just do that. And people do say take it day by day. There's no long sight in this, and I think people have realized over the year that things are taken away as soon as they're given, and they're very untrusting with everything that's been announced. And so now I think very much take it day by day.
I completely agree with you there, and that goes for anyone, even if they're not an actress, even if they're just in a normal job.
For sure.
Like you said before, everyone has different worries, and you have got to take it day by day. Now, what's been the 3 worst things about lockdown for you?
Money, not singing. I mean, I know you can sing in your room and stuff like that, but it's when I went into panto rehearsals, I was like, this is yes, it's so good for the soul. That's what I miss, is things that are good for the soul. And the sadness that seeing people fall apart, whatever it is, their job, their relationships breaking down, just watching people that you normally see in a really positive light or a strong light, and seeing them, you're like, gosh, this is really hit them. And then you're like, if it's really affecting that badly, like, what can I do? Yeah.
Spinning that completely on its head then, what are the 3 best things? I've spoken to a lot of people and they actually seem quite positive about lockdown.
Yeah, I think a lot of good has come out of it. I think the first thing is community and kindness. I think people have been kinder and genuinely kind, not just the slogan on the t-shirt kind, but genuinely reaching out to people. So people have met their neighbours for the first time. People have actually spent family time. Like, I've heard people saying that this is why I'm working, because I want my son to have a nice life, and actually all I'm doing is working, and now I'm getting to spend my time with him. And right, no, I'm going to reevaluate this. I think people have learned how to adapt. I think that's been a really good thing, because you can be, as human beings, we can be very comfortable and sit in our comfortability. And I think that's been an amazing thing, whether it's been putting your business online or learning a completely new skill.
What we're doing now, Zoom.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And I think that people have been really stripped back, and the little things have become more important again. And I think we can live in a very expectant society, and you can look at Instagram and try and aspire to be that, and we're driving the cars that we can't afford, in the house that we can't pay the rent for, because we're doing, like, by doing a job that we hate, to pay for all of those things and that doesn't matter anymore, because people are absolutely on their arse. And even like people in really high paid jobs, you live to your means. So if their self-employment scheme is the standard and they've got massive houses to pay for, their worries are just as valid as someone that's on benefits. It's all relative to your situation. So I think that has been a massive thing. It's really kind of sobered people, which is humbling.
It is. Well, that's two. So what's your third?
So people that have been scared to start a new career, whether it's like one of my friends wants to start a company with hair, so like creating like designs and stuff like that, like hair bubbles and stuff like that, and she's done it. Like, that's ace. And people that weren't ever brave enough because they were in the 9-to-5 job, they were in the kind of like hamster wheel of life, and they're sat at home not doing anything because there's nothing to do in terms of their work, and they go, oh, I've got time to do this, and do you know what, I'm going to do it. And sometimes I need a bit of a kick, and you go, yeah, you can do it, like it's fine, like, and if it doesn't work straight away, that's okay too, like. So and that side of it, and then you see people's joy from things like that, and that's ace.
And have you had a moment like that?
I started baking, but I mean, I'd never bake again. So no. No, it wasn't that bad, but I just stupidly, I put on a Facebook group of 11,000 members. I made one cake. I made the rookie mistake of going, I've made a cake. Hey, does anyone want cheering up? I'll make you a cake. Hope they don't die. And 556 cakes later in 15 days.
Oh my
and goodness. a burn. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, I don't ever want to bake again, but the process was very fun, but it was a beast that spiraled out of control.
And did anyone die with food poisoning, or were we all good?
Well, they haven't told me.
Okay. Well, they wouldn't have
they've died. No. Though I did make a cake for a guy that was 100 in a care home, because everyone was saying, oh, please can everyone send cards? I was like, do you know what? I'm going to make Derek a cake. Never heard from him since.
Might just edit that bit out, just in case.
No, he's fine.
Okay, we'll go with that. Anyway, moving on swiftly. What are you looking forward to after this whole pandemic is over? 3 things.
A hug. That's one thing. Being in massive groups, and just, I think the appreciation of people. We are pack animals, and people have realised that more than ever. Even just having a bit of a cry to your friend, or just popping down the road and having a brew, that freedom. And obviously, I watched Victoria Wood's live BAFTA nomination, Lifetime Achievement. I can't remember what it's titled. That's really bad. But they performed a musical afterwards for Victoria Wood. And it made me cry. So I can't wait to be in a theatre and be like, ah!
Your eyes out.
Yeah. I can't wait for that feeling of unity and the beauty of people coming together and just enjoying it. Like, we saw it at Christmas at the Palladium when people did a standing ovation, and you could just feel the electric, and that is an amazing thing.
It is amazing. And I think people coming out of this will be even more so compared to what they were before.
Definitely, yeah.
Well, if you can keep a routine and go out for walks, get some fresh air, that definitely does help. I do have to say, I am glad that Ionica didn't turn into a grape. Next, I'll be speaking with Matt Taylor, who's a managing director of a successful outdoor leisure company, to find out how he's coping and how he's coped being locked down for so long. Hi Matt, thank you very much for joining me this evening. So you run a successful caravan company. How have you found lockdown?
Hi, Alicia. Thanks for inviting me. It's been a challenge, I think, for all businesses and organisations over the last 12 months. We got started pretty quickly in the run-up to the first lockdown in terms of trying to plan for it as much as we could, which was something out of the ordinary that none of us really knew what was going to come next. For the guys to be able to work from home as much as they could, and provide a little bit of normality in these strange times. This third lockdown has been more difficult because whilst we knew a bit more of how we needed to deal with things in terms of what needed to be done for work and the wider organisation, there's always been a question from the staff and people who represent us and customers, what happens next? And there is no definitive answer. And it's a very difficult thing because the answer you give today could be different to the one that you give tomorrow. What we've tried to be is open and to be able to communicate with everybody as best we can. So yeah, we've had to adapt. It's been a challenge, but you would expect that from any business. But we've just tried to as I say, be open and honest with people, give them the facts and the figures, and have the ability to change our minds as the circumstances change. Businesses that have decided not to adapt throughout this process are the ones that ultimately won't do as well. But hopefully we're in a position going forward that we can kind of build upon.
Obviously, lockdown's not been easy on anyone. A lot of people are having different sort of views on how it's been, positive, negative. But for someone who's got staff, I imagine that a lot of staff members will be coming to you, asking you for support. How do you support them when you're in exactly the same situation as well as not having the answers?
It's difficult. I set about time every day when we have been able to work in the business between 8:30 and 9:30. The door is always open and they can come in for a cup of coffee, a chat, and we can go through it. And there's no holds barred. If they want to say something, let's just deal with it. We've got WhatsApp groups. We've tried to communicate all the way through and catch up with people who have been off or had issues from there. It is difficult because everybody's looking above them to get some firm answers, and that's the same for anybody. And it's being able to communicate but listen to what they're actually asking. Everyone's got different circumstances. People, I've got young people who live still at home with their parents. I've got people who live on their own. I've got people that have been some furloughed, some not, kids and everything. So it's every individual staff member's got a different story. And it's too easy to turn around and say, this is the answer to you all, because it's not.
And how about you? Are you living on your own? Are you living with family members?
I live on my own. So I've got a house in Burton Latimer. I've got a very fantastic community here in Burton Latimer. And we've all been around. Again, everyone's got them these days, WhatsApp groups, and, there's lots of banter flying around and all that kind of thing. And where we have been able to be together, we've been able to be together for special occasions. Got a great group of friends around, being able to and do fantastic things and create lots of memories. And at the end of the day, that's the important thing, money and all that kind of stuff. I think people have put more of a value on what you actually get out of life, with your friendship groups, your family and all the rest of it, than the monetary aspect. Because at the end of the day, I think this pandemic has proved what is valuable and what's not.
It most definitely has. With the WhatsApp groups, has that helped you in any way? Obviously living alone with no one, so creating that support network for your team, that benefited you?
I think so, because from work ones to personal ones, as you say, there's lots of banter flying around. There's, people just dropping in and asking, how are you and all the rest of it. And it's nice when you can't be together. A message here or there sometimes is a nice thing that makes you think, okay, today's all right. And don't get me wrong, WhatsApp, video chats. We had an online trip down to the pub the other night, me and my neighbours, and we're looking forward to going back to the old Vic. It does make a difference because you're busy getting on with stuff. I've been working at home and doing various bits over the last kind of nearly 20 days now, and it is something that does help along the way. The odd text here or there, or as I say, when there's a bit of banter flying around, it's always entertaining.
Now, you said an interesting point there about you've been working from home and your trip down to the pub was online to see people.
Yes.
What we haven't mentioned in this interview so far is the fact that out of the 28 days in February, you've actually spent 20 days in isolation.
Yeah, and pretty much straight through, unfortunately. Towards the start of the month, I got pinged by the track and trace app and fortunately didn't actually go down with it. And fortunately, it was new. I mean, I've been doing stuff with the COVID response over the last 12 months locally. And it was a little bit different because the first time you didn't really know what was happening in a way. And what I mean by that, when you aren't allowed to leave the premises, it's when you really want to go out. And simple things like going for a walk to Withmales or whatever, you look back and think, I really could do with going out, going for a walk or just clear your head. And it's the first 10 days, it was raining quite a lot of it and it wasn't nice. Fortunately, got released, great. And to be fair to the NHS track and trace team, they've tried to do it in the right way and they've been in regular contact throughout, just to check in, which is always nice because if you were suffering, it's a good thing. Second time, I was out for 5 days, went back to work on the Friday, had the weekend off, and unfortunately then on the Tuesday following that, we were asked to self-isolate again because unfortunately one of my team was tested positive, and so we all had to self-isolate, which is a challenge. It's dealing with people's emotions, it's dealing with people who, it's not just about the individual, it's about their wider families, and providing the best support that we can to them, and checking in with the guy who's unfortunately tested positive. And so, yeah, by the end of this, I'd have been in isolation for 20 days. One of my transport manager, unfortunately, had an accident on the M6 towing a caravan back. Nothing majorly exciting. No one was hurt or anything, but unfortunately, there was a dead dog in the road and an accident. And very sad. And obviously, my first instinct normally would have been to jump in the truck and go and help him. But it's difficult trying to deal with that when you can't leave, manage to get round it, sort it, and stayed in control of it, because once you start having not panicking, but not dealing with the situation, we needed to get him off the M6, the car, the caravan, and him, because to be fair, the car and the caravan can be dealt with separately. I wanted him off the side of the M6, and the emotions about being in a car accident, all those kind of bits, all understandable bits, and ultimately I'm the one that's responsible because they work. You know what I mean? I'm responsible for their health and well-being. So all the bits that associated with unfortunately having an accident and the circumstances that it was in, it does make it slightly difficult when you are locked in your house. You can't really go anywhere, but that's just part of life.
How are you coping with that? You've got to look after yourself. You're number one. So how are you getting on with that? What are you doing to stay so positive? Because you can tell even by talking to you now, you still seem positive about the whole situation.
In a way, that's probably the way I've been brought up. It's a mixture of that and how I've learned to work over the years. Realistically, I give myself 3 things that I definitely want to accomplish each day. And whether that's something work-wise, something personally, reading a bit of a book, watching a You know what I mean? Those kind of bits. Just so I've got 3 things that I definitely want to get done, and then set the bits for the next day. And having some accomplishment in when you are stuck in these circumstances, something that you can obviously say, I did that today, I did that today. Otherwise, the days just blur into one. Whilst I'd rather be, you know, sunbathing and all the rest of it.
Ice bathing at the moment, it's freezing.
Well, this is it. But, you know, at times it's okay. But, you know, maybe I'm maybe I can cope with the cold a little bit better. But no, it is difficult. But it's nice to be able to keep in touch with friends and family, as I say, and share the experiences, because there'll be family members, and I've got a family member who's in hospital, who's quite seriously ill. And you just kind of got to look at the perspective, and touch wood, he'll be okay and he'll get through it. But, you know, you've got to be there for your family and try and get on with things as best you can, and realise that, yeah, it's a bit of an inconvenience. But, you know, friends and family have offered to bring stuff round where I can't go out, food and shopping and stuff like that, which is very nice. It's just, as I say, getting things done and realising where your priorities and where, you know, realistically it's got to put it into some perspective. As I say, taking it one day at a time and go from there.
That's all we can do at the moment. Just, as you say, take one day at a time, and hopefully we will be out of this crazy pandemic soon. You have spoken a lot about keeping in contact with people via FaceTime, WhatsApp, but what do you do for self-care? Are you a face mask type of person?
Yeah, a face mask and I wear a wig. You know, no, to be honest, I quite like be able to relax, sit back, have a film on, have a book, you know, read a book. The 2 Barack Obama books that I've got for Christmas, identical ones. They seem to be very similar. Same story. Yeah. Well, you never know. They might be different. So I thought I'd read them both, you see. No, I like to be able to sit back, relax. It'd be nice when I can get out in the garden. I never thought I'd be saying this, and my family will laugh when they see this bit. I'm not very much of a gardener. I can just about cut the grass. But I'm quite enjoying planting things and getting things right. And I mean, I've grown tomatoes now.
Oh, wow.
Nothing too exciting, and brewing beer. So that's quite handy as well. Brewdog, we're on the way for you.
Can I expect to see a line of beers then coming up soon?
Well, you never know. You never know. And this might be where the old Vic link there might come in. I could get them to sell it, couldn't I?
You could. Sorted. Whilst you're in lockdown with hardly anything to do.
This is it. But yeah, you just got to keep busy, and getting involved with other bits is always quite handy. I like to keep busy the other side of it, obviously involved with KOS Musical Theatre Company and looking at various grants that we can get for the organisation. It's been interesting. I mean, I've not got a musical bone in my body. I have no sense of rhythm. So unfortunately, you'll never see me perform.
I'm sure that's a lie. Everyone can dance.
Yeah, you can try. I can guarantee I can't.
And your prime example that you don't necessarily have to be involved in the dancing or the acting. You can get involved in different organisations in different ways.
Absolutely. It's been a really enjoyable thing. And to be fair, for me, from a mental health point of view, I was very involved work-wise, and being able to come and join KOS in a very limited role allowed me to go out and enjoy something new, meet new people, do something that I never thought I would do. I'm now the treasurer of the society.
Check it out.
Well, yeah, quite delighted to be part of it. And you're right, you don't necessarily need to be a singer, dancer, actor, whatever, because you're all massively talented compared to me in all of that. I'm never ever going to be able to do it to that standard. You know, don't get me wrong, I'm sure I can tell some bad jokes, you know, if I needed to hold the stage.
Have you got a joke then? You can't say that and not tell us a joke.
Possibly. But I'll have to think of one. We'll have to come back to that. It is interesting, and it's like with the football club. There's a lot of people, and it's the same for the football club and KOS. There's a lot of people around it that want to see it succeed, and we've just got to modernise both organisations and look to what we can do and reasons to do something. It's an easy way, it's human nature in a way to turn around and go, well, we've never done that, or it don't work like that. In this new world, post-COVID, we might as well try something.
Well, it's funny that you say that, because you just said there, got to try something new. And a couple of questions ago, I asked you about a face mask and you made a bit of a joke and said, yeah, a face mask and a wig. So
Yeah.
if you were to have a face mask, a men's face mask, what would you want it to look like and what would you want it to do for you?
When you say face mask, as in, what do you mean by face mask?
As in, you know, the ones what you put on and then you relax, lay back.
Oh, right. Yeah, like a charcoal-y thing that you put over.
Yeah, or a nice bubble one, peel-off one.
Yeah, I quite like that idea. I suppose it's not one I've really thought about, if I'm honest. I assume the charcoal-y ones are the best kind of ones, but I'm assuming, I don't know.
So what would you want yours to look like? What would you want a men's face mask to look like?
It's a good question. You have stumped me on this one. You've got me. I don't really know how to answer.
Bright pink?
Yeah, why not? Yeah, I'll go with bright pink. I'll go with bright pink with spots on.
I think that would suit you. Purple spots?
Why not? You organise it, I'll wear it.
Okay, done deal. Anyway, you're not getting away with it that easily. You also said that you could stand up and do a good joke. So come on then. Last joke to keep us sane, to keep us laughing through lockdown.
It's an old one, but I was looking through my phone the other day and I realised that I'm friends with 25 letters of the alphabet. I don't know why. No?
That was terrible.
Oh, well. Never mind.
I could fake laugh, but...
Yeah, that's okay. But, you know, it's one of those kind of one-liners. It's like exit signs. They're on the way out, aren't they?
God, these are dad jokes. These are terrible.
This is where the standard is, but you can always get better. But no, as I say...
and they made me laugh, so they've made me smile and...
Well, if that's what's happened, I'll take that as a win.
Exactly. Well, thank you very much. Thank you for joining me this evening. It's been great speaking to you about your lockdown situation. If that interview proves anything, it proves how self-care can really help the mind achieve and continue to be successful even through a negative situation. Thank you very much for joining me this evening. I hope that you have a self-care tip that works for you, and if not, that you've picked up a useful tip from at least one of these interviews. Keep looking after yourself, and I'll see you again soon.